Good day, I'm back. I am Jack Remington, the Jack Remington Political Analyst Channel. Today's video is about an 88-year-old lady in Florida who is forced to work and just cannot retire due to the expenses. I got this article off Business Insider, and the title of the article is, quote, "I'm 88, still working and living with my stepdaughter. I lost most of the $500,000 I saved, but I still feel fulfilled," end of quote. So I highly recommend that you type this in, Business Insider, in Google search or any search you have, and type in the "I'm 88 still working," and this article will pop up. The lady's name is Barbara Ann Patton. She's 88, works as a notary in Florida to pay her bills. Patton's financial struggles stem in part from unfortunate timing when buying her home. She's seeking additional income sources and considering finding a housemate to cover expenses. So I'm only going to read parts of it, and then I'm going to go over some things, helpful tips for people, because this truly is a country for no old people, period. The Coen brothers had that great title for that great movie, No Country for Old Men. Well, I'm modifying my own version of that. America is no country for old people, period. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of this article. Quote, "I work now because I need to, partly due to some poor decisions I've made. I've always thought that at this time of my life I'd be getting my Social Security, have a very nice pension for my corporate management years, and help some people financially. I can't do that, and that's a disappointment." So she retired when she was 53 from this Meritech in Chicago. Because of the husband's health problems, the doctors advised him to get out of the cold winters and take him someplace where it was warmer, so he moved to Florida. She took an early retirement because she had 35 years with the Bell system. Pretty good, right? But the husband could no longer work. If something happened to her, he would leave him with no income. Later on in the article, she talks about how he only got $800 a month Social Security check, but when he died, she lost that. She took the buyout option at 53. She doesn't talk about how old her husband was. I'm assuming he was somewhat older than she was. But they gave her the cash at this buyout option, and that represented her pension through the age of 73. She invested a lot of it, and the return was 10 to 12% annually, and they were doing okay. They were living comfortably. But she said she made a mistake. She had taken a pension. She would now be getting between $3,500 and $4,000 a month, and even possibly even higher, in addition to Social Security. So she was trying to protect her husband. However, the company still provided her with excellent insurance benefits, so it's not all gloom and doom. She retired for 10 years, played golf, tennis, pickleball, acted, had a great time. And she wrote a book in 2004, quote, "Warm tears and cold rutabaga don't mix," end of quote. I don't think I said that right. But it felt like a second freedom. It didn't make her any money, but she sure felt better. So it was something that she wanted to do. She went back to work after 11 years as manager for the National Cremation Society. She left it because there was a change in management. She retired again. So she, mucking around and talked about this place in Florida. She had planned to pay for the house over 3 years with $50,000 down payment and $50,000 the second year and then $30,000 after. So she looked at her mutual funds. On Friday, she called and asked for a check for $50,000 from the Science Technology Mutual Funds, but unlike stock, if you take a withdrawal, it would be based on what the market is at 5 p.m. the following day, which was a Monday. That was when the market crashed. $300,000 went just like that, and it never came back. She's still in the house with a reverse mortgage. She lost some money from her IRA, and she had planned to pay the house off with those 3 annual payments I was just previously discussed. Quote, "We had lived in Florida for 20 years and never had a hurricane until recently. In the last 3 hurricanes, I experienced damage which wiped out anything that I could call a savings account. House insurance was around $120 for the year. Today it would be $140, except I need hurricane protection, so that jumps to $184, which me having to pay the first $3,680 before the insurance kicks in." And I'll talk about that in a second, the Florida debacle. And Governor DeSantis has tried to fix the problem with their insurance commissioners and everything else. She still has over $20,000 in bills that need to be paid, and Social Security doesn't quite it. She gets $1,943 a month after $185 Medicare deduction. Each year she's $6,000 short. Her stepdaughter lives with her, pays a maintenance fee, which is $1,780 every 6 months, and the insurance was $2,200. A failed business venture flipping houses with my husband left me thousands more in debt, which is now paid off. He had an $800 Social Security check, which I lost when he died, but I inherited his debt. I no longer have over $500,000 in the bank. I don't even have a savings account. I cannot buy anything I really don't need. Outside of major expenses such as my car, I'm very frugal. Groceries are getting unbelievable. I thought when I carried that bag that cost me $100, it would say Gucci on the side, not Publix. I spend close to $400 a month on cleaning supplies, which I used to spend $150. Unfortunately, I can work, but the money isn't enough. Since 2021, I have been a remote mobile notary public and often work more than 20 hours a week. I don't resent the work at all. I get companies all over the U.S. who come through a notary agent, and she talks about what she does with that. The problem is the payment doesn't come in for 45 days. In early May, I did 3 jobs, which is $360 total, but I won't see that for over a month. I still have printers, scanners, paper, gas. My expenses don't go away. I may go a week without any jobs, but some weeks I'll have 4 or 5. Sometimes notary work for the community for $20 a few times a week. When the snowbirds go home, things back off. There's not a lot of business in summertime, and it's a very competitive business. I'm looking at doing some other work to increase my income, such as online sales. I'm exploring other opportunities for private broker sales. But when you apply for something and say your birth date is 1937, that's a job eliminator. And that is true, folks. I am fortunate that I am upright, my eyesight is good, my hearing is good, and I'm mentally alert. I still use the electric shed trimmers. I just painted my courtyard. I can solve the daily crossword puzzle without a problem. I watch many of my peers not enjoy that. Most of my peers have died or are in an Alzheimer's facility or assisted living. If my stepdaughter decided that she's not going to live here and go to the other side of the state where her new grandchild was just born, then I've got to try to find someone to come live with me who can pay that extra $5,000 or $6,000 a year I'm coming up short with. I've got to try to generate some passive income so I can continue to remain in my house. I'm concerned about my future, and it's up to me to do something about it. End of quote, and end of the article. I know she feels lucky that she reached 88, and I hope I make it to 88. We should all be so fortunate to reach that age. However, reality bites hard, and when that reality bites, the reality biting is telling you that this is truly a country for no old people, period, because they're just not respected. No one cares about you. They just want you to just retire, sit in a rocking chair, and just waste a day away. They don't want to know anything about you. They don't want to see about you, know nothing. And I'm talking through experience myself. When I left the casino business, I worked in the casino business off and on for 38 years, almost all of it full time. Some years back east, some years here in California. And I was in my mid-50s. Let me tell you, it was really hard to get a job. Really hard. But fortunately, I made some good planning and some shrewd investments. And my wife was working, which helped some. But I became independent. When I mean independent, I had a little eBay business on the side and started collecting coins again, and comic books and magazines and sports stuff. And I'm a self-taught stock options trader, and I made some shrewd, timely investments. So a lot of the picks I made were wrong, but the few good ones I had carried the day. And they carry me to this day today. But with this lady, she had all her money in this mutual fund, okay? And when she went to redeem her $300,000 check out of the mutual fund, it was gone and it never came back. Well, that's the problem with mutual funds. They bundle and pull all the money together with several stocks, and they have these fees, and they do the choosing and fixings for people that don't understand about the stock market and are not willing to take the chances themselves. But my advice to you is learn the stock market. Don't trade on stock options like I do, but you can do New York Stock Exchange only. And I got a friend at one of my part-time jobs in Santa Barbara County. He said, "Oh, I invested in this Korean company that paid 40% dividend, and look at this check." And he didn't reinvest his dividends like I do. And next thing you know, I asked him, "Hey, what happened to that Kwanjo Dong thing you got in South Korea?" He goes, "Oh, they went bankrupt. I lost all my money." Well, that's what happens in these foreign countries. If you're going to do the stocks and learn the stock business, pick something that you like. So you might like an airline, or you might like the autos. You might like Ford. Pays a dividend, 5 or 6% now. Something that you understand, and something that you can do and track it yourself. It takes $2,000 open up a Schwab account or Edward Jones here in Ventura County, and then you make your own picks. That way, if the stock goes belly up or it loses half its value, well, you made the pick. You can't say, "Well, my mutual fund manager doesn't know what he's doing." No, you make the pick. Okay, and you can watch your fees. You can't watch the fees in mutual funds. Now, my wife likes mutual funds because she doesn't know that much about the stock market. But she's learning it through me. So let me give you these 5 tips I got. If I can just reach one person through this video, I'll feel like I've done my job. There's things you can do for yourself so you avoid this position that this lady's in. She's very mature about it. Taking responsibility, which, let's face it, people, they don't like to do. They've been trained that they're special and they're trained that they're entitled. I like her last sentence. And I'm going to read it one more time because I really like her last sentence. She says, quote, "I'm concerned about my future, but it's up to me to do something about it." End of quote. It is. It's up to her. And now I'm telling you, it's up to you. Here's my 5 tips. Number 1, no reverse mortgages, ever. I had a couple homes when I lived back east. I had rental income property, and I was in my late 30s, and they even approached me for this reverse mortgage crap, and I said, get out of my house. I'm going to read off some cons of a reverse mortgage, and I got a screenshot here. Okay, this loan balance, it increases over time. You get the money up front with the reverse mortgage. That's how the concept works. But you still got to pay expenses. The expenses don't stop. And the value of any estate inheritance that you may want to give to your kids or grandkids, it will decrease exponentially as the proceeds are spent. The fees can be higher than a traditional mortgage. And when I interviewed people with these old folks' homes here in Ventura and Angeles Plaza in Los Angeles County for a project for UCLA's film school, every one of them told me that the fees were just outrageous. And I remember one poor old lady, she said they tried to charge her points for her little 2-bedroom house in Los Feliz, 8 points, and a point's $1,000. She couldn't come up with the cash money. So she had to borrow money from her granddaughter to get this thing going, and it took her years to pay it back. And now she's in the Angeles Plaza home. Oh, the initial FHA mortgage insurance premium is the Farmers Home Administration. Okay, and it's a federal program, and it's been around for decades. Been around for I'm going to say 60-some years or more. They used to be known for their low rates. Well, not anymore. The initial premium is sky high now. And I've talked to people. I got eBayers from Florida. I have an eBay business that I started on the side because I wasn't sure what was going to happen to this other casino I was working at. I couldn't get any shifts. Guy didn't want to hire me. So, or at least hire me full time. I had 5 eBayers from the state of Florida email me and say, hey, how's California? I mean, I kind of knew what they were fishing at. They told me the insurance premiums was so out of whack. One guy was paying $80-some a month for his insurance, so at the end year it's close to $1,000. It went to $600 a month in hurricane areas of Florida. And it got so bad that Governor DeSantis and the insurance commissioners were trying to get together and try to lower things. And so you can read from this article from this lady here. They pushed the premium back to where it was, close to what it was, but they raised the deductible. So if something happens in her new house or condo, she's got to pay the first $4,000 up front before the insurance kicks in. That's how they got around it in the state of Florida. And I'm going to say this on the channel, and I hope I don't get too much pushback, but Florida is largely still a poor state. I know they got Disneyland, I know they got the tourism, I know they got this, and they got orange groves, and they got this. They do have some agriculture, some. Florida is still largely a poor state. Okay, it's not like California, it's not like New York. A lot of rich pockets and middle class, upper middle class, and the wealthy in the big mega states. Florida is just not ever going to be that. So, and now my friends are that left California to go to Florida because it's a red state. Now they're coming back to California because well, if I'm going to be broke, I may as well avoid a lot of the problems. Even though there's a lot of nuts out here in California. I'm leaving it on my channel. I don't care what anybody says. So, number 1, no reverse mortgage under any circumstances. You tell them I said so. Tip number 2, no cryptocurrency. When it was $300 a crypto coin, yeah, that was the time to get into it on the ground floor. But now this is at 57,000 or 68, wherever the hell it is, it can only go down, folks. Oh, I want to jump on it. No. Wait for the next one to come along. If one comes along. If nothing comes along, skip that. Don't waste your energy and your what precious seconds of life you have left in you chasing something that's already gone up exponentially so far, you can't catch it. In my opinion, it's not worth it. Just, if you can't find something new in the next couple of years, you might spend $500 a coin, you might buy 5 of them. Be prepared to lose all that money. This is tip 3. Learn the stock market. New York Stock Exchange only. None of this foreign stuff, none of this Asian, China, North Korea, South Korea, none of that. None of these South American, no Mexico market, no Canadian stock market. The New York Stock Exchange has got the biggest, strictest requirements in the world, and companies still go bankrupt there too, despite the heavy requirements, okay? New York Stock Exchange only. All right, tip number 4, your Social Security. Try to take it at 70 if you can. I know I took mine at 67 to pay for the solar that my wife wants on this house. It's still not working right. But it was the last year to get the tax credit because Joe Biden, in his wisdom and under the radar, the mainstream media didn't want to report on it. He closed the tax deduction. He closed the loophole for people who want to get solar on their homes. probably a good trade-off because we saved quite a bit on the taxes for last year. Now next year I'll be writing another check to the Franchise Tax Board in California and the federal, the IRS for the feds. But my wife was kind of right with that. It was the last week to get, that was a huge tax credit. I mean, it really saved their hides. However, most people, if they're not faced with getting a good tax credit, try to get your Social Security to 70. 67, 68 is not too bad. But you got to remember, I'm older than most people who probably watch this channel. So my retirement age was 66 and 6 months. Now my wife I think she almost has to be 68. She was born 6 years after me. It's getting tougher and tougher. And let's face it, they discovered a lot of fraud in Social Security and who's getting it and how it's being administered, and they're uncovering fraud left and right. Thanks to Doge and Elon Musk. People are mad at Elon Musk because he exposed them. Okay? They feel that Elon Musk had no business exposing the fraud. Well, somebody's got to do it, and Elon Musk chose to do it. So good on him. He saved Twitter with the free speech amendment, and now he's trying to save our budget. And he's very concerned about our $37 trillion deficit that'll be addressed in a different video for a different day. Tip number 5, only 2 credit cards. Okay, and keep the balances low. Stop paying the interest rates on it because you just throw money away. I know I don't have much room to talk. I'd see a comic book collection or go to a comic book show, and I'd spend more than I was supposed to, and I'll pay it off. I was making big money, and yeah, for years I got by like that. Well, I'm not making big money anymore. The white bread days are gone. It's now black bread days. I was kind of prepared. I saw what happened to people who were older than me in the casino business. That they had no, in the casino business. I mean, there's no IRA, there's no SEPP plan. There's nothing like that. You can't even get paid time off. I mean, for 30-some years, I didn't get any paid. When you took your vacation to go somewhere, you just didn't get paid. That's the casino business. Unless you're the upper brass top management, they get everything. But your dealers, foreman, assistant foreman, board people, greeters, concierge, you get nothing. The brush people, the cleaners, the kitchen staff, you get nothing. Just get your wage and that's it. And that's good enough for most people. I had 22 credit cards. I'm kind of ashamed to say, but you know what? I got rid of most of them. I'm down to 5 now. And it took 7 years. Or no, I'm sorry. It took almost 10 years. When I left the casino business in 2015, I had 22 credit cards. And I said, okay, one by one, started knocking them down. Comics, I would sell coins on eBay, or comic books or sports stuff on eBay. And I'd say $500 for extra payment. And I got some of them down. I'm down to 5 now. And at the end of this year, I'm going to have 2. You keep 2 for travel. Why 2? Not people say, well, just keep 1. No. What if something goes wrong with that 1? What if it gets frozen for whatever reason, or fraud attempt, or you got to charge back somewhere? You need a second card, but just keep the second card almost to nothing. But use 1 card for most of your travel. If you need something to get on the airline or whatever, they require a credit card. Have 2 credit cards, and that's it. So these tips. No reverse mortgages, no crypto, max out your Social Security, burn the New York Stock Exchange, and only keep 2 credit cards. Get out of debt. Debt is the biggest killer for someone that's going to be 88 years old. If this lady didn't have all this debt, she could probably make it without having the roommate. She's depending on someone else living with her to meet some of these expenses. I mean, I would not want to be in that position where I got to depend on somebody moving into my place. Because let me tell you, I could tell you some roommate stories. I should probably do a series on the roommates I've had when I was in my 20s and 30s, and I was renting houses, renting out my basement back east, and I could tell you some stories and make your hair stand on the end. Fortunately for this lady, she's not talking about having any bad roommates, and she doesn't say this stepdaughter chain smokes and smokes pot and whatever. Who knows what they're doing? And it's none of my business, really. It's none of my business, but I'm here to tell you, if you want a clean living person that doesn't do any of this crap, none of this BS that goes on today, good luck trying to find that. So you need to be self-sufficient completely. If the spouse dies, say her spouse died, well, that can happen to you too. Your spouse could die and leave you holding the bag. Or vice versa. Maybe you're the big breadwinner and you pass and your spouse gets nothing, or is going to have to move in with somebody or go to a home. You got to face your choices and you got to deal with them. Best tip of all is to get out of debt as best you can. Don't take on any new debt. I get offers all the time. I get this thing. No, right in the trash. Don't be tempted by their sales pitches and their bait and switch tactics that they use. Hope you enjoyed this video. God bless America. God bless Donald Trump, the greatest president in American history. Keep America great. Stay patriotic. Defend your country. Stand up for your country. Thank you. Stay tuned for the next video.